Good afternoon. It is about 1 p.m. on the East Coast and the market's just about to close. We are talking about Big Bear booming, and not only that, text in red because Big Bear did have a correction today, along with a lot of other stocks. We saw towards the end of the day it recovered, and then right at market open or market close, we'll see how it reacts right now. But we were watching SOXS. We ended up trading the inverse of the market there on the semiconductors and did okay, actually, as we were up about 1.2% while a lot of the market was down today. And we ended up trading SOXS this morning in our market live session. If you guys ever want to be there, it's the second link in the description for StockMates. When it comes to our growth we've seen on Big Bear, let's jump in, see what's moving it, what's going on here. So we kind of talked about this potential level at which it could bounce. And then if not, then we're kind of breaking back into this previous trend that we got to see about a week ago. So if we kind of take a step back now, we see this new level get validated down here around this previous support resistance at about what seems to be $7 a share. Now, this is a pretty strong level that we've seen, no, $6.75, excuse me, here. And you see that support level kind of get validated. But here's the thing, you got this new trend. It just broke below this 200-day moving average. So kind of some background, before it started making this run back up to this $8 price point, it was hanging around $3 a share, or really less at one point after that big run. So we started covering it back in October, $1 a share up to $10. Saw it sell off from $10 a share down into this $2.36 range by April. So from February to April, it sold off from $10 to $2.36. And we see that recovery happen up until $8.75. And my dog Kona is saying, "Hey, Will, what's going on? Can I go outside?" And that's something we will have to do. The other thing that happened, actually, before we even jump into technicals, you guys can see the kitchen behind us. This slab piece right here is what's going on the counters. We already ordered it, so I'm excited for that piece. It's definitely got a lot of excitement built around the kitchen. I'm pumped to get it done. That's just a nice thing to get finished. So BigBear.AI, we see it push up to that $8 range. You got the support level here at about $6.84. So that's really what we're watching. Now, could we see it sell off more? It's quite possible that that is the case, but we still see it holding this level. If we take a step back and we go down to the 4 hour or something like that, it's still well above that 200-day moving average where it oftentimes will bounce. And so we see it still holding bullish. It just pulled down today, which was expected. The market was very overbought, and it made sense to see it sell down in that moment. And now we're starting to see it bounce here, maybe continue up, still below the still below that EMA. I think even down on the 1 hour probably, yeah. So now we have this new trend for Big Bear. So it is a resistance level here and a resistance and support level here. So you can see from basically July 18th until today that it's been selling off from that high, pushing up, game rejected, selling off, pushing up, game rejected, sold off today. It's pushing up, and maybe we see it still break out. This is the same trend actually we saw that we traded last week, which was this went up to $8 a share. It's then pulled down like this, and when it came down to this support here, we ended up buying, and we traded Big Bear up into these ranges and then traded it again up into here. So this is good. It actually presents more opportunities for the company, and now we got to see. It's possible with the direction it's headed, it could get rejected and maybe even sell down tomorrow into that $6.80 range again, unless we see that breakout. If we see the breakout kick in again and it can shake this downtrend, then maybe that is the next move and we see it continue in that bull trend. But as of right now, we see it correct, hold below that EMA, and we kind of have been watching now this trend where it could sell down another 7% potentially or 8%, down to that $6.70 range. So we'll be watching there really closely. Now, when it comes to Big Bear AI, we could kind of go over the financials. So they have some growth in their market cap that's happened recently, which has been really exciting. But one thing that really hasn't shown up yet is the solid report of their financials. We're looking for that financials, and I see Biggie's here. I see Crazy Carl, Jay Zev, Bat Bones. What's going on? And I see Neil, Louisville. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. So BBAI was sold yesterday by some of the members. Some people said we sold. Got back in at 705. That's what Uncompromised One says, which that's a really not a bad entry, right? So you're down down at this support level, and maybe we see this breakout. What I'd watch for, in that $7 entry is this trend. Right now, it's in this trend, and it's possible you bought here, kind of like how we bought down here last time. There was a lot of stock mates too that noticed we were seeing this downtrend, and we said, hey, it's going to bounce here maybe on this downtrend, but it could also maybe break out. So we not only caught the downtrend and that it was downtrending, but then we also got to catch the breakout. And so, and the breakout here. And so now we see it downtrending. You got in at 705. Now you catch this breakout maybe, or you catch this initial swing. So if you got in at 705, then currently you're up about 4.5%. That's a nice trade there. Good job. And then if it breaks out of this trend, maybe we see that, and now your margin for profit's pretty good and you're really getting up in there. So it's a good position. I think it's a nice entry, especially even on a downtrend. And that's why we get excited and why we like to see the pullbacks in the market. And it doesn't mean we have to not trade or not make money. Again, we were trading SOXS today, which at one point was up 6%. While the market was selling off, it was all red. We were up, $200, $300 in the first few minutes of the market open because we bought the inverse, right? So we saw the overall direction, we got the inverse. So it doesn't mean that the shorter term trades can't work, but it just means that you got to be smarter about it. And also it means that you have good opportunities to maybe hedge against a market correction and also buy in to deeper, expand your position on the longer term, more maybe intrinsically valuable companies that will go up over time. And so that's kind of how we approach it. And it seems to be working quite well. Neil says, hey, what's going on, Louisville? Hey, Rick and Mora, good evening, good evening. I know it's evening in the East Coast. Jarko says, cheers. Hey, what's going on? So BBAI, you got the, Brady says, TSA posting articles about $5.5 billion deal, but have not mentioned any tickers. Well, there's really not a whole lot of companies that could be mentioned when it comes to the different companies that they're choosing from. I want to say that if it's somewhere here, maybe in a solution brief, they got Veriscan. We got to go find it, right? But there was this market publication essentially from Big Bear a while back, where they were talking about the basically comparison to other companies in their markets. And so there's some pretty good resources that they have available. But there was a solution brief a while back where they were talking about, again, like who they're competing with. And basically the main competitor when it comes to the TSA stuff is going to be Leidos. So I don't know if you guys have seen Leidos. You probably have and may not realize it, but when you go to the airport and they have you stand and they like do the thing and it scans your whole body, that's Leidos. So that's a technology that is not just TSA, but that Big Bear has mentioned that they're one of the main competitors of Leidos. That's what they've said. And it says they're even using some quantum technology there for GPS jamming, which is cool. I got to talk with some Leidos executives over in Colorado Springs last time We went over there, but they got a $20 billion market cap over on Leidos. Now, Leidos has some TSA partnerships. They got good revenue in the billions of dollars, and their balance sheet has been very consistently good. Now, when it comes to the growth of Leidos, it seems to be pretty consistent, slowly growing year over year. And they have those systems that they work not just in the TSA, but also in the like Air Force or in the Space Force, and that they have a lot of space tech as well. And so, where we're seeing just the market right now with Big Bear, yes, we have a greater correction, but that's an interest. I don't know where that article came from, Brady. We can try and search it. TSA, we can see $5.5 billion deal, but if it's not from a source, so here's a Reddit. Now you got to be careful going into a Reddit. Do they have, okay, ID Tech Wire. So they have this ID Tech Wire. I've never heard of this site. I don't know where their source is here, but just saying that they're eyeing a $5.5 billion deal. It says the Transportation Security Administration has issued a new request for information aimed at transforming airport security staffing with artificial intelligence and biometric technologies. The initiative supports proposed 10-year, $5.5 billion contract to replace existing screening partnership program agreements set to expire in 2026. Yeah, most likely Big Bear could be someone that is there. Where is that? Where is that source? Just saying that they're doing that. It sounds really good. It sounds legitimate. Where is the source? Because Reddit is one source. I don't know. I can't verify, because they have Reddit, then you have Yahoo Finance, which notoriously has a lot of fake articles. So as far as verifying that $5.5 billion potential deal for a biometric scanning company, I mean, sounds great, sure does, but if there's a legitimate source that could be verified on that, then I'd be more than happy to take a look. But otherwise, we can't take it for much. The reason why, I mean, I would believe it. I would totally believe it too, because you have the World Cup, you have the Olympics coming to the US, you're going to have a lot of immigrants, a lot of people coming in. It makes sense, but we need the source. Otherwise, I'm not going to give it the light of day. There's been too many times online that people, hear from somebody on YouTube, and maybe I could be wrong. I would love for you guys to challenge the integrity of how we do things. And maybe you're saying, Will, I just want to know what's going to 10x or whatever. I think what's going to give you the best chance of really going from, let's say there's two flows of river. You got a river that is making you money and that is abundant and is growing, and you're making wealth and building your wealth. And then you have a river where it's like always hard, and you're getting further and further away from making money. And like, I think that people that go in the route of always just looking for that one stock that's going to pop, or that article, and just putting all their belief into articles that could be fake, things like that, that puts them in a river where they're like always struggling to make a gain. Whereas if you look at the integrity and you line up the values of the company, and you make sure that it's not just hype, it's not just fake articles or things like that, but it's legitimate, that you put yourself in the best position to create wealth. And so I want you to create wealth, and so I'm going to try and pick the best path for you to do that. So hopefully, that makes sense. But yeah, so BigBear.AI, they do have other contracts besides that supposed possible contract we could see. Brady says the advancement follows successful implementations at major hubs like JFK International Airport. I love it. Yeah, I mean, that's where they're at. So it could be them. Send me the link to my email and we'll go over it. When it comes to the VeriScan though, and we see them deploy some tech, we'll be watching closely as one thing to note with their Department of Defense or their Pentagon articles, things like that, and putting out all of their biometrics into these airports. So there's JFK that you're just mentioning. So maybe they're that company. Is it we need to see that impact financials? We believe maybe that is their move. They want to get that government contract, so they're doing it as cheap as possible, as fast as possible, so that they could be that company that gets a deal like that. Now, if that's the case, we could see the financials really do well. We're watching them closely. Balance sheet looks good. They reduced their debt a lot in the last quarter earnings. So we'll be watching that as their assets are up and their liabilities are down. So we just want to see those continue to improve. Revenue, good year over year, increasing, but that net income was negative as they reduced their debt, which is fine, but just some value we're watching. Now, if you guys want to join us in our daily live trading session tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m., would love to see you there. It's the second link in the description. I got to roll. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your Tuesday, and this was helpful and valuable for you to look at Big Bear. We're going to watch for this trend. If it continues down, that's what happens, down to 680. But if we see the breakout like we did last time on this trend and continue that uptrend, then we got to watch that level around 750. If we see a breakout there, maybe that's the next breakout into bullish territory. So we're just watching those, and we'll take action on them accordingly. What we see continuing to hold the long-term position and short-term position trades that can be explosive, we'll be watching at market open. Again, if you want to join us there, second link below. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. David, Brady, Yaniv, Glenn, Sharko, Ricky Mora, Lulabelle, Leo. Appreciate you all. Neil, Aaron. Hopefully you guys have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Matthew, thanks for tuning in. See you guys in the next video.